now we're going to follow up with some Dodgers discussion. And boy, is there a lot to talk about here. Dodgers are starting off with a historic 9-1 record. Something that yours truly did not expect at all.
I called it.
Isaac did call it. I was expecting like a 1-9 record maybe, but they're 9-1. And yeah, there's a ton to talk about concerning the Dodgers right now. Do you want to start us off, Isaac?
Yeah, I'll start you off. Basically, all you gotta know is that Matt Kemp is a beast. Plain and simple. That guy is out of his mind. He's leading the league right now in home runs with 6. He's leading the league with RBIs with 16. Not only that, but also Ethier has 15 RBIs as well. That's second in the National League. And put together, they have more runs between them than I believe 14 teams. 14 teams. So that's pretty impressive. So our offense is basically 2 guys who are just playing out of this world. And they're 9-1, as Manuel said, without Clayton Kershaw getting a decision in either of these 3 starts. So but he has an ERA of 2.35. Chad Billingsley has won 2 games, has a low ERA. Harang struck out 13 people. Who knew? Who's our other pitcher we have?
Chris Capuano.
Capuano.
You know him. Everybody knows him.
Yeah. Capuchino's pitching great for us, and so it's great. Our bullpen, our closer, has 5 saves, leads the league in saves. All this with D Gordon hitting 200. It's just unbelievable how we're doing this. It's great to be a Dodger fan right now.
Yeah, if you have a fantasy baseball team, sell high on Matt Kemp and Andre Ethier, buy high, or just pick up Dodgers or pick up Dodgers when they play the Pirates and the Padres because they're putting up numbers right now. It's truly, a couple of games where we've seen historic performances. Aaron Harang, somebody that I think nobody knew of before his performance. Somebody that used to play for the Padres and the Pirates, ironically enough.
And the Reds.
And the Reds has 13 strikeouts. What? He has 13 strikeouts. If you would have told me that at the beginning of this season, that he'd have, the record for Dodgers, or getting up there in the record for Dodgers strikeouts, I would have looked at you and laughed in the face. Aaron Harang is not going to break any records. And he did. And then the Dodgers have a triple play, which didn't look necessarily impressive, live, but triple play nonetheless. Vince Scully comes back, which is very, very good. He's been out with the flu. So, yeah, things are looking very sunny at Dodger Stadium. Very sunny.
Yeah, not only that, but the Dodgers pitching staff together have an ERA, have in the top 5. They're in the top 5 in the ERA. Which is great because, like we just said, we have Cappuccino and we have Harang as our 3rd, 4th starters, and we also have Ted Lilly too.
Ted Lilly somewhere in there.
Yeah, so I know his name is not Cappuccino, but still, Capuano.
It's a funny joke.
Yeah, it's a funny joke, but people might take it the wrong with that. Yeah, anyway.
It's okay.
Yeah, but the Dodgers are playing great, and I know Manuel made fun of the fact that we only beat the Padres and the Pirates. But hey, they don't make up the schedule. You got to beat the teams you're supposed to beat, which is what a good team does, what you're supposed to do, and that's what they're doing. They're taking care of business.
Yeah,
they're beating the teams they're supposed to beat. So
yeah, now
don't bring that up again.
Okay, but there is one thing that you have brought up, Isaac, over and over again, and it's that this team, it's looking like they're repeating the conditions that a certain World Series team that the Dodgers had.
A couple World Series teams, actually. I looked it up. I posted it on Facebook because on SportsCenter, I think they said it wrong, or I heard it wrong, but I posted in 88 was their best record when they started 6-1, which is actually 81 when they started 6-1. But I looked it up, in 88, they did start 5-1. So I was kind of right. But regardless, though, in those two years, in 81 and 88, when they started off 5-1 and 6-1, those 2 teams went on to win the World Series. And there were teams where nobody really gave that team a shot. In 88, the Dodgers didn't have a shot at all to beat the Mets. They beat the Mets. They didn't have a shot to beat the Oakland A's. They beat the A's, and that team wasn't stacked either. And this Dodgers team, as you can clearly see, besides Kemp and Ethier, everybody else is sitting below 200.
Yeah.
You never know. Like we said, we learned in history, history has a tendency to repeat itself. So hopefully it repeats itself, and we could see like the Dodgers win the World Series.
Yeah,
but it's still April though. So
okay, I'll be the voice of reason here. This team still isn't that good. I'll stand by my predictions that I had last video. The Dodgers simply don't have the talent to compete for a championship. So let's get those championship World Series aspirations out of the way. D. Gordon, who people like the person next to me,
the fastest man on the planet.
The fastest man on the planet still hasn't been able to get on base. And granted, he had that walk off that won the Dodgers the game, but he's still not looking like he can get on base. You know, granted, it's a small sample size, but there's that.
Is that a big deal? You can't get on base? Oh yeah, it is because he's the leadoff hitter.
He's the guy on top of the order.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that, and then you have AJ Ellis and Mark Ellis, who have been relatively consistently bad. Even though I think Mark Ellis leads he's up there on the team in runs, but you know he's not gonna do anything. I think for the Dodgers this season. And then you have James Loney, who is going to be alone on the bench at some point this season because he's not hitting.
Come on, Loney.
This has been a recurring theme for James Loney these past couple seasons. And I think it's about time that the Dodgers look in a different direction because he simply doesn't look like he's going to improve. He's been on a downturn for the past couple of years now, so yeah, Dodgers, in my opinion at least, are good enough, I think, to make the playoffs, especially with the Giants going through their injuries right now, particularly to Brian Wilson. But as far as making a deep playoff run, I don't see that in the picture right now.
I don't see why not, though. Like you said, I think they more than capable of winning the division. And like last year, the Cardinals, nobody really picked them to win the World Series. I mean, they ended up doing it anyways. And they did have one of the best pitchers in baseball, Chris Carpenter, and they did have Albert Pujols. But the Dodgers had Clayton Kershaw, and they have Matt Kemp on their team. And again, in the playoffs, you never know what can happen. You know, stranger things have happened. If I may quote the great Vince Scully in 1988, Game 1 of the World Series, he uttered the most famous words. It is music to my ears, and I'm going to say it today because I just feel like saying that phrase. It's in the year
you feel like that everywhere.
That has been improbable, the impossible has happened. So you never know, you know, when whatever happens in the playoffs, you know, anything can happen when you get into October. So I think for the Dodgers, what's more important for them right now is for them to stay in contention until July. Because for the first time, we have owners that have money. They actually have money for the team to spend on players. So you never know. This team is in contention, and the ownership decides, you know, we can make a move here and there to give us a run at this year. So for the Dodgers, just to stay in contention long enough for the owners to decide whether or not they should do a move for this year or just wait for the next season to come.
Fair enough, but you know, the Dodgers, as far as making moves is concerned, I don't think there's a single move out there that can really put them over the top. There are moves that can improve the team, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But as far as making like a huge move, like or getting a huge player that can make a big contribution, I don't necessarily see that right now. Of course, you know, the players become available throughout the nature of the season, and you might pick up somebody nice. But as far as making a deep, significant acquisition.
Well, I don't think they're gonna make like a all-star's gonna come to their team or a blockbuster move's gonna go to their team. Because I don't think now the assets to make that kind of move unless they get rid of their own players. But I do think they could shore up our pitching staff, make it a good number 3, a solid number 3 pitcher, or even at a second base, pick up even though Marcellus is a quality, you could pick up a better, more solid second baseman than we have, or a little bit better third baseman or left fielder. You pick something not a great, but something that's a proven MLB player, solid. I think that could help out the team. I'm not saying they're gonna go and get a big name, but they could get something like a quality guy. I think it will help the Dodgers tremendously as the season progresses.
Okay. Well, let's take a and Matt Kemp, I think, is another thing that we should probably talk about. He's projected right now MVP last year, maybe.
Yeah, Cy Bryant Brown. You cheated, PEDs.
Okay. Well, he's projected to have 96 home runs at the end of the season.
And he was being humble then because he wanted 50-50. He's 96.
Yeah. I looked at him crazy when he said he was going to go 50-50, and now he's projected to have 96 home runs. Okay. Thanks for proving me wrong, Matt Kemp.
Yeah, I mean, that guy's on the beast. He had 6 home runs in 10 games. It's ridiculous what Matt Kemp is doing right now.
Yeah, well, he's obviously not going to hit 96 home runs. My question to you is whether, he can continue to put up these offensive numbers throughout the course of the season.
I think he can because he did it last year. It was almost the same type of thing with it, but it was fun because last year the team wasn't going anywhere. They were in the doghouse already from the get-go. They weren't going to win the division. They knew that, but he still played great throughout the whole season. This year, though, the way they're starting off hot, and now it seems that maybe they could get the division with Brian Wilson going out for the Giants. So maybe, makes him reel in and makes him focus even more. I mean, the one down here he had was an 0-10 when people questioned his focus on the team. But that was just because it was Danny Rihanna, and I cut her out of the picture. Back to his baseball.
Exactly. No distractions.
Yeah, hopefully. So he's got to stop. He's doing all these other crazy interviews and stuff, and just focus on baseball. I think he will. So I don't know about the same type of numbers, but it should be close enough where you wouldn't see that much of a drop off. The key I think would be Andre Ethier, who was hurt last year, and this year's proving that he was a valuable player 2 years ago for this team. Before Kemp even is doing what he's doing now. So I think if Ether stays healthy, it's a pretty good 3-4 combo we have on the Dodgers lineup.
Yeah, I would like to see what Dodgers role player steps up in the absence of a really solid, third offensive leader for this team. Is it going to be James Loney? Is he going to?
It should be him.
Jump out of his slump.
And honestly, it should be James. James Loney should hit 20 home runs this season. He should. It's just time.
Yeah, and 20 home runs I think is a reasonable expectation. It's not. I don't think it's asking too much of him. So it'll be interesting to see who steps up. Maybe it'll be D. Gordon. Maybe he learns how to hit sometime during the season.
Just bunt the ball, man.
Just bunt. Like my boy Juan Pierre did a couple of years ago. I don't know, but yeah, I think if the Dodgers find a player that can put together a consistent, respectable offensive season, they have the opportunity to do some things in the playoffs. But as of right now, I think they're still looking for that guy that can give them the type of production to really surround Ethier and Kemp, who are having great or are on pace to have great offensive seasons. They need help.
You don't think Juan Uribe is the answer?
Juan Uribe, Juan Rivera, the other Juan on the team. A lot of people
Juan on Juan.
But there's Juan Rivera might be able to. I think he's a little bit older in age though, and maybe doesn't have enough left in the tank to put up that kind of consistent season that they're looking for. But he's, I think, an alternative if Loney doesn't start hitting, which is something that the team desperately needs from him.
Yeah, but it's good though to see people back in Dodger Stadium though. People are actually showing up at the stadium. So
yeah.
It's great. It's great to have baseball back. Dodgers are back. Awesome time to be in LA.
They're winning. Yeah.
It's awesome time to be in Cali.
Okay, so the future for the Dodgers
is bright
this week. Is bright, yes. But they also play the Milwaukee Brewers and the Houston Astros, two teams that are also
going to sweep them both.
Are struggling. So yeah, they definitely have the opportunity to continue the sort of winning ways that they've had against bad teams.
Can I make a prediction?
Oh, let's hear it.
The Dodgers are going to go 161-1.
Oh,
man.
Oh, man.
That's drinking too much of that Kool-Aid.
Yeah. I hope that's not. I hope that's water you're drinking.
It is. I hope so.
I hope so too. Yeah. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that they break even. I'm gonna say they break even.
That's fine. I say they win the 2 series.
You win the 2 series?
Yeah, why not go home around it?
Why not? And if they win both of the series and continue this trend, we'll hear from Isaac next week. And I'll hear from him too. So. All right.